Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new box office breakdown show on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinneberg. Today, we're breaking down the box office domestically from this past weekend, which was June the 9th to June 11th. We're going to break down the overall domestic box office and worldwide of this year and look ahead to the movies that are coming out this upcoming weekend. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, subscribe, ring the bell. I do this breakdown show every single Monday, as well as other movie reviews, TV show reviews, and movie rankings weekly. So please subscribe, ring the bell. Sorry, daily. So please subscribe, ring the bell. We're almost at 160 subscribers. We keep growing like every day. It's been really fun to watch. You guys getting more support for the channel. So keep sharing the video as well. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on the box office? Do you think this is a bad sign for Transformers moving forward as a franchise? What are your box office predictions for both Flash and Elemental? Like the video, guys. The thumbs up button helps the algorithm so we can keep getting some more people tuning into our videos. Had a great ranking video today with my good friend Liam Gianelli for Transformers. So please keep subscribing, liking the videos. Let's get into this past weekend's box office. So number one this past weekend, not shockingly, even though it was actually a much tighter race than I think everyone expected, but Transformers: The Rise of Beasts from Paramount is number one. It was in a back and forth battle this past weekend with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which we'll get into in number two. But Transformers: Rise of the Beast opens at $61 million domestically. Now, if you look at the 7 live action, films, it had the 5th best opening for the franchise. Now, it is the last 3 have been the 3 worst openings for the Transformers franchise from a live action point of view. The first film in 2007 opened to $70 million. Revenge, the second film opened to $108 million. The third film opened to $97 million. The fourth was $100 million. So Michael Bay's first 4 films off the bat were great, but The Last Night was a big step back for the franchise, opening at $44 million on a $217 million budget. Then Bumblebee only opened at $21 million opening weekend. And now this film has 61. So it's $9 million back of the original film. So still 5 of 7 in the openings. And again, it's very similar to the other Michael Bay films. It is around $195 million as its production budget. So I think this is a solid opening for Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Again, competition is just a lot right now. A lot of movies are succeeding. Again, it went head-to-head with the second week of Across the Spider-Verse, which is a widely acclaimed film. Not just is it a big movie that it was going up against in its second weekend, but it's a film that had amazing word of mouth, which means it probably would have a great second weekend. So while it did take away the IMAX theaters for Across the Spider-Verse, that's probably why it edged it out this past weekend totality in the box office. We'll see, though, how it holds up. I think we're having a feeling, though, that some of the movies coming out later this month are just going to be flops. Very similar to March. June is a highly touted and stacked month where there's basically not just a new big movie, but a new blockbuster that's basically coming out every week, except that June 23rd weekend where there's No Hard Feelings and Asteroid City coming out in a wide release. Again, you have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Transformers. You have you had a Marvel Sony movie. You had a Transformers film. You're having a DC and Pixar film this upcoming weekend, and then you're ending on an Indiana Jones film. I think because of these little independent movies or just fun comedy movies are just not what is drawing people into theaters now. Everyone's just stacking their months with blockbuster movies, and I think it's definitely saturating the market. You saw in March, Dungeons and Dragons was pretty much a bomb in that month. So was Shazam: Fury of the Gods, just bombs. And then movies like John Wick didn't hold up great week to week. So while it's exciting from a fan point of view to have all these movies come out week to week, I'm sure we are going to see one of these, if not 2 of these movies, could be bombs. That'll lead me into my talk about The Flash later. But good opening for Transformers: Rise of the Beast, not great. And it really does need to have, hopefully does not have a 60 in front of it. It's going to be top of 2 big movies coming out this weekend, but we shall see. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse dropped 54% in its second weekend. Even though it actually gained 20 theaters, made another $55.5 million, $225.5 million already, if I'm not mistaken, on its worldwide gross already. It's already made more than the Into the Spider-Verse's entire run. This is one of the most successful sequels because it's done so much better than the original film. As I said last week, the first film was not a hit in theaters. It was a more of word of mouth that caught on when it hit streaming and when it hit Netflix. That's when this movie really found its fan base. And obviously, this movie wouldn't be making this much money if it wasn't pretty good. And this movie is making a lot of money because it's a word of mouth type movie. Again, it did lose its IMAX screens. I think if it didn't lose IMAX screens to Transformers, it probably would have beaten it this past weekend. I think that's the problem with stacking all these blockbusters on top of each other, is that most movie theaters, or really all of them, have just one IMAX theater where they can really just show one movie a day, which means that week when Transformers comes out, it held all of it for only 1 week. I think if there were maybe 2-3 IMAX theaters, I think a lot more obviously that's a very expensive intake to do. But I think the theatrical market would benefit from each, especially the big theaters, having more IMAX theaters, to not clog up this month and eliminate the different experiences to watch a movie. Again, Transformers will already lose its premium screens to The Flash this weekend. The Flash is the only movie this month. It'll have it for 2 weeks before Indiana Jones then takes it. So a very interesting thing there. In third place is The Little Mermaid from Disney, with another 23.1 million, 44% drop in its third weekend up to 229.1. This film now is tracking now behind the first Aladdin, and it will be lucky to make $500 million worldwide, which is a pretty bad number. Usually these Disney live action remakes make not just $1 billion, but at least close to $1 billion. And this film has been a gigantic drop off from the recent Disney live action. Again, this is Little Mermaid, one of the most popular IP Disney animated films of all time. And yes, it was competitive, but it's going to not be good headlines for Disney coming up, especially worldwide. It just has not clicked internationally at all. And while its domestic numbers are pretty solid, it just hasn't done well internationally. This is not going to be a hit for Disney, which was, I think a lot of people thought this could be $1 billion film. I think at this point, it'll be lucky if it gets to $500 million. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is in fourth place in its 6 weeks with back-to-back Disney films. 7.2 million, 32% drops up to 335.6. We've talked about Guardians long enough. And then fifth place is, again, from 20th Century Fox, which is Disney, The Boogeyman in its second weekend. Did only drop off 42%, 7.1 million, 24.9 domestic based on its budget. Very successful counter-programming. Horror films are great in the summer as counter-programming to a lot of the big blockbuster action films. So The Boogeyman found its little niche audience at the box office. When we look domestically, Super Mario still the biggest movie of the year domestically, 570 million domestic. Guardians right behind it, 335.6. Little Mermaid is number 3 domestic this year, 229.1, but it will be surpassed by Across the Spider-Verse, which is right now number 4 with 225 million. Now that's a crazy stat. It's something that Sony should basically hold over the heads of Kevin Feige, is that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, an animated Marvel film, has already made more money in 2 weekends than the entire run of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. That, I mean, there's been a lot of wake-up calls for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania this year, but now Sony, with its animated Spider-Man film, has already made way more money in 2 weekends than it has in its entire run. Really bad sign for that movie and Marvel. You can really now see how bad of a bomb it was for Marvel and Disney. So Ant-Man's right there, 214, $11 million behind Across the Spider-Verse's 2 weekends. Just amazing. John Wick is at number 6 with 187. Creed 3 is at number 7 with 156. Fast X is at 138. And the most shocking part is that Fast X became available this past week on digital. It was not a at all big success, especially domestically for Universal. Under a month since its release, who would have thought we would say that Fast X would already be available on digital? A big shock to the system for Universal and for Vin Diesel. He's still promoting the next part of the saga in 2025, but that honestly could be the last movie, and they really don't do a trilogy. We'll see. Scream 6 is at number 9 with $108 million, and finish off the top 10 under $100 million at 95 is Megan. Again, still 9 movies, $100 million. We'll see if we add to that next weekend. Worldwide, Super Mario Brothers, still the biggest movie of the year, $1.3 billion for Super Mario. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is at $806 million. It now gets number 2. So it finally gets over that, in my opinion, the MCU benchmark of a successful film, which is over $800 million. 806 is crossed that barrier. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is now deemed officially for me a great success for Marvel and Disney, as that it's its second film of 3 this year. Fast X is number 4, 648.3 worldwide. Again, if you look at those numbers, only 21% of Fast X's box office has come domestically, as it's made 510 internationally. So if it was just even a moderate success domestically, it could be close to being $1 billion, but it was not. Big downfall there for Fast X. Quantum Mania is at 463. It's at number 6. John Wick's at number 7 at 432. Little Mermaid is at 414. We talked about last week. It's near a $400 million budget, including all the advertisements. So it is going to be a big bomb, I think, for Disney as we look the weeks ahead. Across the Spider-Verse is now into the top 10 after it wasn't last week worldwide. 390 worldwide. Again, Spider-Verse isn't doing great internationally, though. I think if it was doing a little bit better internationally, the headlines would be a little bit better for the movie. But again, 225 domestic, 164.5 worldwide, and Creed 3 at 274 is at number 10. This is one of the most interesting box office weekends of the year, as the unpredictable Flash comes out this upcoming weekend. Is word of mouth good enough for people to go out of their way to support this movie? Will people support a movie which is still technically from the previous realm of DC? Is the Ezra Miller controversy going to overshadow this movie? Again, as I'm filming this, the premiere is tonight here in LA, and Ezra's hopefully making an appearance. His their only appearance on any red carpet or any promotion for the film. So we'll see if their involvement in the movie is going to completely affect this movie. With a lot of people saying that this is the goodbye to the Snyderverse, will that also mean people won't support this movie? There are a lot of things that are throwing out this way. The question is, will the word of mouth and people believing that this is one of the best DC movies ever, well, is that good enough for people to go to the theater and see it this upcoming weekend? That should be interesting. Then Pixar's next test in the theatrical market is Elemental, which feels like a movie that's getting little to no promotion. Pixar was one of the most successful movie studios in Hollywood for the last 20 years. And really since the last couple of years, and really the pandemic has kind of really halted all of goodwill for Pixar. It's only second film in theaters since the pandemic, and Lightyear was a monster bomb for Pixar and Disney. Can Elemental, at least as counter programming to a lot of the superhero films, bring out people to the box office? Big tests and swings. Both studios, DC, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Disney Pixar, need victories this upcoming weekend at the box office. So it is going to be a fun box office breakdown show. Also, Asteroid City comes out in limited release this upcoming weekend. And also coming out is The Blackening, also hitting theaters this upcoming weekend. So that's my box office breakdown. Like the video, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. This upcoming week on the channel, I have a lot of reviews coming. I do have a non-spoiler and spoiler review coming out in the next week on this channel for The Flash. My non-spoiler will be out on Thursday. My spoiler for The Flash will be back out here a week from today on Monday. A lot of reviews to get into. Also, we're going to do a DC EU ranking, which includes both Shazam! Fury of the Gods and The Flash, which I'll do also this upcoming week, probably Friday. So please stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, ring the bell. See you guys.